What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative, a channel where I like to talk about all sorts of fun bookish related things in the science fiction, fantasy, horror, and manga genres. In today's episode of fun, I'm going to share with you my February TBR, all of the books that I am planning to read, buddy read, and a few alternates in case I get everything finished for the month of February. I always like to start with buddy reads and book club picks first. So the first one I'm going to start with is Wildcat by J.P. Harker, which is book 1 in the Caledon saga. Wildcat is actually going to be a reread for me. I read it last year, and then for whatever reason, I never continued the series. There's currently 4 books out, and I decided this was a series I wanted to catch up on in 2021. This also happens to be the book pick for February for the Shelf Published In, which is the sister book club Discord to Shelf Space. But Shelf Published In features independent and self-published authors, and we picked Wildcat for the book that we're all going to read together. So if you're interested in joining Shelf Published In, I'm going to have the link in the description box down below to come by and join in on Discord. The author has graciously agreed to come by our Discord, answer questions you may have. So in addition to the buddy read channels, there's going to be a channel called Ask the Author. So as you're reading, if you want to know if any of the characters are based off real life people that the author knows, you can pop into that channel and ask him. If you have any questions about what you're reading, a scene, or if a particular battle was maybe based on a true one, you can pop over there and ask him. He'll be happy to answer your questions. I'm really excited for this adventure. I'm looking forward to rereading this. I absolutely loved it when I read it last year. Since so much time passed since I read it the first time, and now I'm continuing the series, I wanted to reread it, and now I have the most wonderful opportunity to reread it with a bunch of friends and just rediscover this world and my love for its characters before continuing on the series. Next up, I'll continue with the Shelf Space book club pick, and the pick for the month of February is Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. I picked this book up based off of the recommendation of my bookseller Lizzie. She read it, absolutely loved it. I've heard a lot of really good things about it, and there are a few people that kind of had some opinions about the ending. They weren't quite happy about it, so I'm really looking forward to discovering it for myself and seeing what I think. But y'all know me, I pretty much love everything I read, so I expect that I will love this one as well. The cover is just absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to dive into this one with my Shelf Space friends. That'll take care of my book club books. Next, let's talk about some buddy reads. First up is Anger is an Acid. This is book 3 in the Patience of a Dead Man trilogy by Michael Clark. I read the second book in the series in December as a buddy read with Sharon Dwyer and Brad Proctor. We all absolutely loved it. Sharon went ahead and binged this one, and she has just been dying for Brad and I to catch up. So Brad and I are going to be buddy reading this in February. I am just really excited to see what Michael Clark is going to do to close out this trilogy. This buddy read is going to be a channel-wide buddy read with the Library of Alexandria. We will be starting Feb Rising in February by reading Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Now, I have never read Red Rising. I've never read anything by Pierce Brown. So many of my friends have loved this series. I'm excited to delve into it. So we'll have to see what I think about it. I don't know anything about what it's about. I've just heard that some of my friends love it, and that's all I needed to know in order to get it. My copy was gifted to me by my Secret Santa from Shelf Space, Lauren Elizabeth, so I'm even more excited to read it because it was a gift. Next up is a read-along hosted by the Codex Cantina, Christy Lewis, a musical bookworm, and the History Shelf. This is a 2-month read-along of the Brothers Karamazov by Dostoevsky. I will never say his name right. It just won't come out right. I think I'm adding an extra T in there. I don't know. I'm doing the best I can here, but I'm very excited for this read along. I have just really immersed myself in Dostoevsky's writing these last few months, so I'm excited to continue. I read Crime and Punishment last month. I loved it. I love the simplistic, matter-of-fact writing style. It just really appeals to me when reading a classic. It just makes it simple, and it just breaks it down in a way that I can absorb it better. And this one is the reprinting of the original 1880 publication of this book. It's translated by Constance Garnett, which so was the Crime and Punishment translation that I read. So I already got a good feel for that. I know I'm gonna like it. It's got footnotes. It's big, like it's a textbook. I'm not sure what that's about, but it's my fault because I ordered this one because I liked the cover. So the discussion for this read along is going to be on the Discord server, the Literary Discourse. I'll have that linked below, so if you would like to join, that's where you can find the discussion. It starts in February and it's going to cover February and March. The next buddy read is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I was supposed to read this book like months ago, and I just insert excuse here as to why I didn't get it done. But I'm going to read it in February. This is a buddy read that's going to be happening in the Shelf Space Discord. It's being led by Kate from Love Story. I'll have her channel linked below. So I'm finally going to get into this one because I'm planning to read Jade City and Jade War. I'm really excited to finally read this one. I know that Jade Legacy comes out later this year. I saw that there was another buddy read being hosted in Shelf Space for Jade War, so I'm gonna hop in on that. So I'm excited to delve into the Greenbone saga and just absorb all of that magical goodness. The next one is A Time of Dread by John Gwynne. I am very excited for this trilogy. Y'all know I love some John Gwynne. This book is made even more special by the fact it was a gift to me by my friend Penny for Christmas, and I just love it. I've been looking forward to reading this ever since I read The Faithful and the Fallen last year. Once I got this beautiful copy in my hands, I was even more excited about it. And I hadn't really had a place for it, and then Abby messaged me and she's like, hey, I'm thinking about starting A Time of Dread in February. Are you in? And I'm like, oh yes, yes I am. So the next book I'm gonna read in February is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. This was my patron pick for the month of February to read and review. So a thing I started this year, I draw from my patrons every month, and the name that I draw, that person gets to pick a book for me to read and review. And this month it was Victoria from A Musical Bookworm, and she chose Ready Player One, which is awesome because I already had it and I had it on the plan to read this year. So it just got moved up. So I'm very excited to read this. I love the 80s. I think they were the best decade ever. I am very excited to just dig in and get into this book and just be awash with the nostalgia from my favorite era. Next up will be The Gunslinger, Book 1 in the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. I am excited to begin this journey. I have been plotting on reading this series almost the entirety of 2020. It's finally here. I am very excited to start this journey. So many people seem to love this series. Now, I have heard all the things said about The Gunslinger. It's boring and doesn't make any sense. You could just start with book 2, or it's much better and makes more sense to read it after you've read the other book. Well, I'm not going to do that. I start at the beginning, and that's what I'm going to do. And as a companion to the series, I'll be reading some of The Science of Stephen King. This is a book by Meg Halfdow and Kelly Florence. So what The Science of Stephen King does is it focuses on each decade of Stephen King's writing and the characters in order of publication. I've heard that some of them were a little out of order. I don't care about that. What I care about is just delving into the why behind the characters, and could some of the things that happen in these books really happen in real life, and if so, how? So I will be reading The Science of Stephen King as a companion to all of his books going forward. I just think that would be really fun. Afterwards, of course. I don't want to read it beforehand just in case it spoils something to do with the characters in the book. So I will be reading those together. So Wildcat will not be my only reread this month. I'm also going to be rereading The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I am kicking off my Wheel of Time reread. It's been a while since I read the entire series. I did read Eye of the World last year. I'm going to read it again, and this time I'm going to keep going with the rest of the series and read them all to completion yet again. I have this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful 30th anniversary edition of The Eye of the World. I just can't wait to read it for the first time. It is beautiful. It's got a little cloth bookmark in there, or thread, or ribbon, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. So I am looking forward to going back home to the Two Rivers and meeting some of my favorite characters, and I'm curious to see if at my age Will I still favor the same characters? Will I have the same opinions as the characters get developed? Because the very first time I read it, I started out loving people. As the series continued, I then later didn't like them, didn't like what happened, or this and that and the other. There was only one character that I loved in book 1 and continued through the series, and that was Nynaeve. So I'll be interested to see if any of my opinions change of the series since it's been so long since I read it. And I don't think I said it, but for the Eye of the World and for the Gunslinger, I will have channels set up in my Discord. So if you would like to join me, either rereading or reading for the first time, The Dark Tower and The Wheel of Time, the link will be in the description box down below. Next on the list is The Final Empire, Book 1 in Mistborn Era 1 by Brandon Sanderson. I have been trying to get to this book for, I swear, 6 months. It's gonna happen. I'm continuing my journey through the Cosmere. I honestly hardly ever find myself watching a booktuber talk about anything fantasy without one reference to Mistborn. So I'm extremely excited to get into this part of the Cosmere and seeing what I like, what I think about the magic system that I've heard so much about. And then another one I want to read if I have time is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is the book that Jessie May and Elliot Brooks will be buddy reading for the month of February, and they've invited everybody to join. I would love to join them to read this if I can. This is one that's been on my list for a very long time. So here's hoping. Are you going to be reading any of these books this month? Do you want to come read any with me? Hit me up in the Discord if you do. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope your morning has gotten off to a great start. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.